I'm a high school teacher. I'm not used to having an entire room listen to me. So who here, when they were in school, enjoyed studying science? Who here used something you learned in your physics class during your everyday life? Okay, there are a couple, but not many. So I think as a teacher, I'm not having much of an impact on my students' lives, and that's a problem. If you, as a person, can use scientific and critical thinking in your life, you will be empowered to better understand the world. Now, most of us recognize that we need to do better, but at the same time, much of the conversation is focused on the wrong things. A lot of people seem to think that we could make kids love science and good at science if only we could show them enough explosions and fascinating demonstrations. I mean, asking questions like that makes you curious, but I'm not sure that this type of demonstration is doing very much for students. Unless we can use demonstrations to promote curiosity or to teach critical thinking, these demonstrations are nothing more than snake oil in a world that needs people to learn how to think critically. The second mistake that we're doing is we're assuming that science is some sort of collection of knowledge. Well, if science is a collection of knowledge, then schools are in the business of determining whether or not students learn this knowledge. We have two main tools to do this. The first of them is the multiple choice question. Which color will produce the best resolution in an optical telescope or microscope? There are 4 wrong answers and 1 right answer. Which of these similarly phrased definitions is the correct definition for energy? It's mostly just a test of reading comprehension. Which is the closest star? You cannot assess a child's ability to ask the right questions, formulate a hypothesis, conduct an experiment, or make meaning in their lives with this multiple choice test. Okay, so the other technique that we have is to ask science problems. Science problems pretend to be real-life situations in which students are supposed to apply their scientific knowledge. When students see a problem like this, they say, what equation am I supposed to use? What vocabulary am I supposed to use? What ideas am I supposed to write down on the paper? And they stop thinking. These problems provide no meaningful assessment of a child's ability to apply scientific knowledge. They're nothing but a test of whether or not students are able to solve this type of problem. The problem is that these tests are acting as gateways. We use them to keep students from graduating from school. We use them to let students into university. And we use them to allow students to receive the career preparation that they need. As a result, there's a tremendous amount of pressure on students, on families, and on teachers to prepare students for these tests. We're focusing on the wrong thing. These tests are the wrong goal. If there's any magic or meaning in science at the start of the year, it is gone by December. Alternatives to these terrible exams. Projects, open-ended tasks, group work, lab work, portfolios, virtual labs. If you're a science educator, look these up. They have been tested, they have been used, they've been around for decades. I don't know why people aren't adopting them. It's craziness. I'm here because I want to call on science leaders here and around the world to scale back their reliance on these standardized examinations and to investigate and seriously consider alternative forms of assessment. But I have a message for you too, and especially to students. Science is more, so much more than tests. If you can use science in your thinking, and if you can learn to think scientifically and critically, you will be a smarter and a richer person. We can learn to think scientifically. We can learn to think critically. So demand that from your schools. Demand that from your education system, and demand that from yourself. And most importantly, don't let tests tell you what you do and do not care about. Learning science is hard, but it's also really important. I think we're doing it wrong. I think we can do it better. And in fact, I think we must do it better. Thank you very much.